stop this grandstanding, endlessly saying we are sick of the disgrace of food banks, because we are not a disgrace. You know, we're actually the community showing that it is bothered and does care. There's nothing disgraceful in that.
My name's Nigel Knowles and I'm the leader of the Labour group on Wyre Forest District Council. I got to hear about this case actually in my local paper, which is called the Kidderminster Shuttle, and I couldn't believe it that the legal system had come to this, really penalising this young woman that really had transgressed only in the way that a Mars bar or two was taken, and she got the whole penal system thrown at her. I think part of the problem with people in her situation is they don't know where to go for help, and so they're in the system and they're being helped by the system, I hope so anyway, and then it sort of breaks down. There's a real problem. They run out of vouchers or whatever, or the food bank won't take them anymore. They've got no money. They think that's the end, and so maybe inadvertently they revert to stealing, whatever it is. But actually I'm all about sort of put the signpost up there bigger, direct people to get more help. You know, the council will be one help. I'm a councillor. I would have helped were I to have known about it. Okay, we don't know everybody, but really it's all about being helped and sort of really having a mentor and showing the way through this maze of claimants, etc. The amazing thing is that in 2015 we've got food banks in the UK, which it really is a disgrace. I know they're used and they're beneficial, but really there is no way in the world that we should be in a position where families, men and women, children, are in need and receipt of food from food banks to get by. It's a disgrace. I mean, it shouldn't be like this at all. We've got to have a better system than this.
After hearing this young woman's story, the Reverend Stuart Campbell began an online fundraising campaign to pay her fine. His campaign information page stated that we can't fix every injustice in the hideous, heartless society the UK has become. We can do something, even if it's only a gesture. In Mr. Campbell's campaign, he highlights the injustice between this case and that of a wealthy and privileged city investment banker who escaped jail after angrily glassing two people in a nightclub because the judge feared a prison sentence would damage his career. The original target of £500 was reached within the first day, and the final amount raised was in excess of £16,000. The campaign stated that all excess donations were to go to food bank charities, in particular the First Base Agency in Dumfries.
I'm Mark Franklin. I'm the manager of the First Base Agency here in Dumfries, which is a small independent, and I guess they would call it frontline charity. As it's not unusual for us to have a funding hole to fill, that's the norm. This year it's about 15,000 quid. And completely unexpectedly I got a call one morning by someone to say, have you seen this? And obviously Stuart at Wings had read, you know, my blog about us raising funds, had wanted to raise attention to this lady who's been fined 300 odd quid for nicking 3 Mars bars, and to help her out with her legal costs, and said, look, any extra will go to food banks, and particularly the First Base Agency, because time to time Stuart's taken blogs I've written and put them on the Wings site. So at the time of we're doing this, I think they've raised about 16,000 quid. I don't think it's all going to come to us, but it would appear, you know, a chunk of it will. So it is amazing. Social media is just extraordinary on things like this. If something catches a bit of momentum, and before you know it, you know, it might have sorted our funding for another year. Fantastic, if that's the case. The community has found this way where food banks are like the focal point of remembering how you look after people who've got nothing. Because you get some sort of 18-year-old lad, and he might have been in care, and even when he wasn't in care, home wasn't up to much. I mean, anything beyond opening a tin, they just got no idea. So there's no point as overcomplicating that food, and that's a lot of people these days. You know, I mean, we always have pasta coming out of our ears, and every single person has offered, do you want a bag of pasta? You know, if you're hungry, what's better than a bag of pasta? But what, 30% say yes, Leslie?
That's that.
It's not they don't like pasta. They'll never give the tins of spaghetti back. They just don't know. They just don't know where to start with pasta or rice or stuff like that. A common sort of person we'll see now is someone who's worked for many, many years, has never been unemployed, doesn't know how to be unemployed, therefore they make some mistakes on the paperwork and provide an ideal candidate to be sanctioned. Anyone who is unfortunate enough to be poor at the moment is being branded by politicians and media like the whole shirker, scrounger, argument. You know, statistics last year showed that 25% on people on benefits were verbally abused last year. And that will, over the next 10 years, we'll see more drug addiction, more alcoholism, more criminality, homelessness, a whole basket of other social problems which wind up with someone in such a bad way that they come to us. Stigma keeps people away. There's lots and lots of folk who've got not enough to eat, can't pay the bills, they're going to the likes of Bright House, Wonga, borrowing off mum and dad, grandparents. You know, they're going to whatever lengths to avoid seen walking through this door because Mrs. Smith from 3 doors down will have a good old gossip. Where in America it's totally accepted. If you get a minimum wage job, it will be enough to pay 2 out of the 3 of power, rent and food. You can't pay for 3 out of 3. And the only one which is available free of charge is food. And so, you know, there is no stigma to going to a food bank if you're in Dumfries, Virginia. But there's still a big one in Dumfriesshire.